Hello everybody, welcome back to Enter the Underground. It's been a minute since my last upload, honestly. I've been putting together some final touches and some quality control on a project I've been working on with my best friend here and frequent collaborator, Christian Saliba. So for the past 6 months and more, if we include the conception stage, we've been working on an EP titled Spider and Gray, and we'll get into the themes and other different stages of the process later on. But what I want to get into first was, specifically how I pitched it to Christian when I originally came up with this. So I pitched it as our version of Food by MF Doom. It's an album that really means a lot to me. I have a poster beside me that you might see in some of my other videos, and it's a really amazing album, and I wanted that same feeling when you listen to it. Listen to our EP. So the original plan was we were gonna have old clips from the Spider-Man animated TV series, a bunch of them that Doom actually used himself in some of his production. But going further into the creative process on ours, we took it out for either legality purposes, or it kind of stunted us creatively. There was not really a whole lot we can do if we wanted to have a section almost like a skit in the middle of a song, when we wanted to keep all the track lengths all nice, clean, concise, and keep the whole thing moving. We didn't want to have any reason for someone to maybe skip it or something like that. But I'm really liking how it turned out. Instead of it being like a MF Doom fan project, for example, it turned into something of our own sound, which you can probably hear some inspiration, but it is our own sound.
So to start with the themes and ideas, right, it's 6 songs with a total of 15 to 17 minutes in runtime. As Daniel said, we didn't want to really put in samples or other samples from different films and all that, and we wanted to try to be as original as possible, right? Because we've seen, obviously going into the hip-hop scene, you see a lot of the same content, and we wanted to just kind of speak what was on our mind, be as creative as possible, and just express how we actually feel. And it's seen in every song. Every song we try to deliver that. And to start with No Sidekicks, it was the whole theme around that was getting sidelined for somebody else's vision, kind of knowing that we are not the sidekick. We're trying to be ourselves. We're trying to be in the scene. We're trying to be the person who can create a new lane. And I think we were successful upon that and upon every song. And to continue, it quickly goes into Grayscale, where you see the first solo song from me. Obviously, No Sidekicks was the first collab that you see, and Grayscale, more of being creative in a boring world, right? And we're isolated, and the people really not seeing the vision that we've created, right? And you see that throughout the chorus and the verses, and honestly, we made sure that the samples were also kind of fitting around the theme, right? We wanted to make everything connect and kind of feel good, feel summery, feel very vibrant, and still hold that MF Doom Food album type of experience. And it brings us quickly into Origins, which is the second solo song from me, where we kind of see ourselves as music, the same way you see Peter Parker's Spider-Man, that kind of thing. And that one is a lot more personal, kind of how we started everything. Very broad, but not too specific, but was the most personal that you see on this EP. Going into Red and Blue, which was Daniel's his first solo song, where he talks about dreams versus reality. That song we did kind of try to split it into 2, with a kind of break in the middle. He talks about his past self, his future self, finding himself as in total, and kind of trying to show that he is who he is. He's trying his best. He's doing what he wants to do, and he is in the red and blue, right? Going into Symbiote, which is our fifth song, where you kind of see a difference in our sound, and he'll speak more upon that in the production part of this video, where you talk about new friends for the better or worse, the symbiote kind of switching out of that red and blue kind of thing, and it's the reason why there's a whole new sound upon that. And as I said before, we kind of try to we let the beats fit into the theme of what we're talking about in each song. And that one, that's where you see it. It's not fully trap influenced, but it's a lot different, and we on purposely did that. And it finally goes into Behind the Mask, where we're kind of talking to ourselves, who am I? Once again, one of the most personal songs that you see from both me and Daniel. We both share a large amount of that song. It's our longest song, almost a total of 4 minutes, and that was the one where we express ourselves the most, right? It was just right from the heart, right what we wanted to say, and put it right onto the songs, right? So in total, the themes and ideas, they were fully executed. It was what we wanted, and it came out to be exactly what we had hoped for.
So as a producer first, I spent a good portion of these 6-month process working on the beats. I remember doing the finishing touches around the April or May phase, and that was just getting to mixing and mastering the beats themselves. I'd say that we finished most of them halfway through that time span, and it was mostly just trying to find the best sample that would fit the theme and idea that we've already came up with in the conception phase. So for No Sidekicks, I was really influenced by Saliva by Victor Vaughn, which is an MF Doom alter ego. I like how it just comes out swinging. It's very hard-hitting, upbeat, and I kind of wanted to, and we did incorporate that with No Sidekicks. For Grayscale, that one specifically was more of a calm. It's supposed to be very relaxing, and the drum section on that song specifically probably took me the most out of any other drum section. I remember there were being probably 10 different versions in total of that song, just because those drums. I remember working on those drums for an entirety of maybe 3 or 4 hours, just switching different versions, running to the car to listen to it in the full speakers, panning different drums, trying to make sure that everything sounds the way I wanted to, and the way it sounded in my head when I was back in the conception phase. For Origins, we went for more of a West Side style for that. You can see that in the song, and it's more chill, more relaxed, more something that you would hear off of a West Coast project. For Red and Blue, that was probably the last beat I really finished, and I stumbled on a really great sample, and that was a really quick beat to make, because it was just, I was in a flow state really making that one. It's also the shortest one because I wanted that one to be nice, short, sweet, to the punch, and there's no seconds lost on it. There's no points where it's boring. It's quick to the point, and then there's a little bit of a transition at the end where I put a flanger on the end of it to sound more like the next song that we'll get into, which is called Symbiote. Now, Symbiote is supposed to be a standout in the themes and also the production. The production was made to sound more, like Christian said, trap inspired. It's supposed to sound devilish, dark. It's supposed to sound like you're under the influence of the symbiote, like we were during the song process. So when we were talking about the production side, we'll talk about the mixing and mastering side later. But you can tell that it's dark. It's all that you would expect from a song titled Symbiote. Behind the Mask is very calming, relaxing, and I feel like when I made the beat and when I heard the sample, there was themes of self-reflectiveness, and I feel like it all really came together. I really like the beat switch on my part, specifically when it goes from his part to my part. You're not really expecting it, and then I bring back both samples at the end there, and it just really came together perfectly. So I think the production is my best work yet, and it was a challenge for me. I wanted just to keep leveling up more and more, and I hope you'll see that in future work. Keep getting better and better.
So for the writing process, and obviously with the lyrics, it was exciting to do, and it was super important that we drew a line between two things. One was relatability, so the person, being able to understand the lyrics, relate to them, dissect them if they wanted to, and also staying on theme with each song that I talked about before, right? So for each song, obviously took a different amount of time in terms of writing, alongside the beat making, as Daniel talked before. But I would say there were a few songs that took a lot longer than others. For example, Grayscale was something that was super short, right? It was super catchy, it wasn't too long, and it was kind of just, we were just in a mode. We were just rolling off, and we were able to write a lot easier for that one. Another one would be maybe Origins. That one also didn't take too long. That one actually had 3 different versions. I had wrote 3 different times for that song, and the third one was eventually the one that we ended up putting out. Something like a Red and Blue, that one was probably one of the longest ones in terms of writing. Beat making was one of the
So like a month.
yeah, almost a month. But for the beat making, it wasn't. It was super fast, right? For that one, we really wanted to make sure, because it's also called Red and Blue. It's perfect under it was one of the most, Spider-Man-y names, right? And we ended up creating it. We had a lot of different lyrics for that as well. Same with Origins. Those two had a lot of different lyrics that we ended up taking, not taking. Symbiote that one was mostly written by just me, I would say, kind of more on my own time. And then Behind the Mask and No Sidekicks, those were both together. I think Grayscale was as well. A lot of it was very collaborative, whether or not it was a solo song from me, a solo song from Daniel, or a collab from both of us. Both of us helped each other with the writing process. And for the recording part of it, it was all done on GarageBand on my MacBook, and all of the production was done on his laptop with Serato Studio. And it was cool that we had the vision set already for the songs, but when we got to the recording process, we thought to ourselves, okay, well, we can add something more to this, right? Because once you actually hear it with your ears, you end up knowing, like, okay, what else can we do with this? So for example, like the layering vocals on Symbiote from Daniel, that was almost like a last minute thing, right? Or the announcement that we originally had on No Sidekicks is now scrapped off of it. Or something like Daniel repeating a chorus at the end of the songs to layer my vocals, or ad-libs or other vocal effects, those kind of things. On Red and Blue, I think he had a vocal effect on the chorus. So those are all small things that we ended up doing with the writing process that added just a final touch to make it seem very impactful, very, very different, right? But aside from that, that was the writing process.
So for the album cover, that was something that I wanted to get done as early as possible. I wanted to have a great album cover, because there's like a bunch of great albums with really bad album covers that you might not even care to even look at, because that's your first impression of an album or an EP. Is if you see like a really weird, abstract, or poorly done, quickly made album cover, you might not really be intrigued at all, and that's what you need. You just need the one person to give it a first listen, for them to truly fall in love with the work, and that's what we really tried to get done with this album cover specifically. So the album cover was done by one of my best friends, Gabriel. He'll be tagged in the comments, the description below. And what I did was I did a brief, like really poorly done sketch of what I wanted to kind of be done. I wanted, like, we already knew that it wanted to be look like a comic book page, and have different elements of each song. So we have like a kind of evil creature on the bottom right, I believe it is. That's supposed to symbolize the symbiote song. We have individuals on the comic book panels for our solo songs. And I'm really loving how the album cover turned out. He did a great job. And I'm definitely sure we'll get him again for another one.
So for the end result, obviously we touched on every single aspect of this EP and how it all came to one big project that we've successfully completed. It was super fun to do, and we're happy that it's finally coming out. There were some moments during our creation process where, you know, we had doubts. We weren't too sure about some things, and some things weren't working out, or there'd be weeks where we just weren't working on it, right? But we made sure that we worked and we gave it our everything, because again, this is both of our first releases, right? We don't have anything else out on any streaming platforms, so we wanted to get in there and give it the best that we can. And for the future, it's gonna be the same thing, and we're gonna be expanding and giving it everything that we have, right? And with future music, there's also gonna be a mini EP that I'm gonna be releasing with my brother, maybe around half of what we've just put out. It's gonna be 3 songs, all production from Daniel, and performances from both me and my brother, alongside another single which is gonna be releasing with my brother on his birthday in maybe mid-July. So this is all gonna be coming out in the summer. So a lot more to come out after this EP. We've been preparing and setting everything up accordingly. So this is all super exciting.
My brother.
How did I say brother?
You didn't say it. It was just sounded like it. I was just adding.
It's in my system, bro.
Well, thanks for watching. I truly hope that you give it a listen and enjoy it, at least half of the enjoyment that we had making it. It was truly a great process making it. We really challenged ourselves with it. For Christian, he challenged himself with the rapping. I challenged myself with the production, and even with a little bit of rapping. There's 2 songs there, and yeah, we're really just blown away with how proud we are of ourselves. I really don't think it could have turned out any better. This was the best that we could have done right now, and we can only continue to get better. This is the worst we'll ever be. It's crazy to think about. Yeah. I really believe that. Yeah. So give it a listen, and you'll be hearing more from us in the future. Thanks for watching.